many of you, good show of hands, heard something in there that you recognize from a song that you heard on the radio? The decisions that Lou and Lenny made in making those 25 records basically influenced how pop music would sound for the next 2 decades. So I wanted to play a few of those songs. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I know we want to make sure this gets in on time. But I wanted to talk about how the breaks begin to leave hip hop and invade R&B, which was one of the first places where you could start to hear these records outside of absolutely.
One thing I've always been curious about, because what you guys also did in making all the Ultimate Breaks and Beats available to the world at large, you also identified a lot of records that were previously, some of them, secret records. They were the records that they used to wash off the labels of. So can you talk a little bit about some feedback you might have gotten from the people who might not have wanted those to become known?
I'm going to tell you a story real quick that I told Dan. One of the main reasons that I feel, I know that I got involved was the only way something's going to evolve and continue is each one teach one. Now, back in my early career, like this in 1977, 78, I was at a jam. It was Coleman Brothers rocking the park, and he plays this record. I'm like, it was like all I hear, boom, 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 bam, boom, 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 bam, bam. I said, what record is that? Charlie Chase would not tell me. No problem. 2 weeks later, another jam. I see him, same thing, he plays a record. I'm like, oh, your record is like with Sarone. I'm like, Sarone? I got Sarone 1 and 2 and 3, but Sarone 4. At that time, I was working at Crazy Eddie's on Fulham Road. I go to Sarone, I see the white label, I say, wow, cover, take it home. I hear the record, garbage. I'm like, what the heck is this, man? Next jam I see him, I didn't even ask him. I look in the crates, take the record out, and I see Atlantic Records. And I'm saying, Sarone's a cotillion. The heck is this guy playing? And they brought another cover, a black cover of the same album. I said, this has to be it. Take it home, same garbage. So then now I'm fitting records up in the bin in Crazy Eddie's, and I'm looking, I see Sarone live album. I turn it around, Atlantic Records. I put it on, all I hear is shh, the crowd, then I hear boom, 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 bam, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Now, for us being DJs, I remember Dexter Wanzel, Theme of the Planet. Theme of the Planet, you play on 45. Turn on 45, I hear shh, I say, damn. I thought the record was beat up when he was playing it, and it wasn't beat up, it was the crowd going, look, it's on 45. So then, when we decided to do the breakbeats, the first thing was to give the foundation, which was the Apaches, the Got to Be Real, the Dance to Drummers Beat. Those are the original foundations. Give it a turn of news. If you look at the first 9 volumes, were records that any DJ that considers himself hip hop should have in their collection. When it came to volumes 10 through 25, my outlook on this was, if we want this culture to continue and we want the organic aspect to be embedded in it, then we still have to keep the live sound to it. And the only way you get a live sound to it is having those old funk records, or old R&B records, and there's some rock records that have that groove. And that was the reason why we did what we did. And fine, some people got upset, but the same people that got upset, 90% of them, and I'm not saying all 100% because I can't say that for sure, 90% of them have the collection, 90% use my collection. And I don't sound boastful, but I'm going to say this. KRS, my philosophy, if we would not put Sister Sanctified in the same edit, it would not have been done. It takes 2, raw bass. He took the same exact sequence that I edited with the records and go that way, and it became what it became. He used the B side, which the Space does, and the same record, the other side that had It Takes 2, and It Takes 2 became synonymous with a whole genre of music that just took over. So I can say, fine, we opened the door to Pandora's box, if you want to call it, but I think it took us being boastful enough to say, let's open up the true essence of what this culture is, as musically it is, to show people that this is where it began, and the only way you're going to make it sound the way it originally became is having the original ingredients.
I think.
You didn't think about it. You knew that people were going to get mad before you did it.
But think about it was a beat that wasn't on
I mean, you thought of the concept of people being like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is our secret. Now you're letting it in."
Yeah, but think about it was a record that only a few people knew. And think about, like I said again, a lot of these records were in our household. 90% of the records that we got from our parents. They were in the stash, in the little component sets in the system. You put it on and you rocked it. It's not. We wasn't discovering the wheel. The records were not we were putting out. Were records that were at one time on other hits, or that you weren't even able to find as cut-out records in Corvettes back in the days, and then or Woolworths, and that's what you were able to find. You wasn't able to find the record. We were just letting people know, okay, this is water. No, this is a cup, and there's a cup of water. And here, drink from it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we were doing. We weren't doing anything else. Fine. You understand? And you know what made me feel, I mean, and I've some guys were upset, but I've asked guys, and they'll go on record. I asked guys like Piero and Charlie Chase, and these guys said that was the best thing they could have, because then that man, they didn't have to go spend or go crazy looking for the original again and let it rock. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was for us, as far as giving that aspect. The reason we did that, because nobody beat up Paul Whitney for putting out his volume. And his volume was and then he, you know, the thing with him, and not to, you know, in any way discredit him, he didn't take pride in what he was putting out. We made sure that it sounded as gritty and as thumping enough for you to use. Yeah, exactly.
But we forgot to mention that on Paul Whitney's Super Disco Breaks, Mardi Gras actually had a skip in it. But you know, what's really vital to me about Lou's story and Lenny's story together is that they go from trying to memorialize a culture to actually creating an even larger one. So in the next 5 minutes, we're just going to play a few more examples of how the octopus's tendrils started to go out into the world. In 1988, I heard really what I thought was the first R&B record I ever heard with a breakbeat in it, and that was Groove Me by Guy, produced by Teddy Riley, who was, before that, he was a hip-hop producer. He produced a show by